Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Fifth Down. I'm Seth Eubank, and with me is Kenson Probst. Kenson, how's your day today?
It's been good, man. It's been good. Just chilling. It's good to get back into recording this episode and excited to get back into debating with you, man.
Yeah, it'll be good. It's been a few weeks since we've done this, so we'll definitely try to start keeping more up to date with these podcasts. But go and take us into the first segment.
Yeah, all right. So we got so what do you think about the Chiefs beat the Dolphins 26 or 7? What do you think about that loss?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone just kind of saw it coming, like especially with the weather.
Right.
The and with the Dolphins, they had like a really bad record, like under like 30-degree weather, I think.
Yeah.
And so, and with it being like, wait, what was it? Negative 30 degrees?
It was like negative 30
Or,
degrees. I think it
or,
was
no,
like
no, no,
this.
no. Or it was like negative 14 or something.
I think it was like the second or the first. I think it was like the second or the first coldest game it's ever been in
Yeah.
like NFL history, which is crazy. That's cold. I would hate to
Yeah.
be
Oh,
playing that weather, but
sorry. It wasn't negative 30. It was like negative 4. And then it went up. I think it made it to like negative 7 or something. It was something like that. But
it
I
was it
mean,
was
it was cold, basically. Um, yeah, it was freezing cold. And then also Chiefs, they're just really good in the playoffs, and Chiefs have a lot more experience recently. There. Um,
yeah. But to be honest, I think I think if they were playing in Miami, I think the Dolphins probably would have won that game. But I think due to the fact that they're playing in Kansas at their home field, with the weather, Miami does not play well on away. Miami does not play well on the road, period, let alone
yeah.
this weather. And so, I really thought the Chiefs were going to be one and done. Well, I mean, we'll go into that later on, but I really thought the Chiefs were going to be one and done. And but yeah, I think wasn't really surprised because I that's what I expected because that's what I expected based off of what the Dolphins had been showing all year through the season is that they can't really play good away games. You know, they had the one against the Cowboys, a couple others, but besides a couple of those, they really haven't been able to play good games at home, let alone in cold weather. So
Yeah.
that was a big deterrent. But if it was at Miami, I for sure would have picked Miami um before I picked the Chiefs 100%. And I thought even with the Chiefs being how bad they are, I still was picking them over Miami just because of the weather. Because like I said, Miami is garbage with that. But um, yeah. But I mean, that was what 2 weeks ago. I know we kind of behind, but that was 2 weeks ago. So for those who don't know, the Bills lost to the Chiefs. Here I have the record, the score. It was 24 to it was what was the score against 24 to 20?
21.
21, 24 to 21. Um, for those who don't know, Bills lost in the divisional round to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs once again. What do you think about that game? The whole matchup, everything going into that,
I mean, the matchup's always good. It came down to
right?
the wire. Um,
Literally the
and
wire.
at the very end, the Bills kicker missed the field goal.
Right.
Um, that's just tough, honestly.
Yeah, man.
Um,
They got to put him on suicide watch after that, man. After that, we were gonna be after him, and he's gonna be on. I don't know, man. I had a buddy tell me that. I was like, man, that's
I
not
don't know.
funny, but he's like,
I
I
don't know if that's the right phrase to use.
don't know, man. People are gonna be out for him, and then he's gonna be low. But I think I think it was a good game, I would say. Definitely expected the Bills to win that. I thought the Bills were the better team. I still think they're the better team. Um, I think at the end of the day, the Chiefs had made more plays than they did, and part of it is that one field goal that could have tied the game, but the Bills kicker just couldn't make that. It wasn't even close. It was like way to the right. Um, but like I feel bad for them. Thought Patrick Mahomes played pretty well that game. Josh Allen I thought played all right. There was a couple passes he missed. I think he had a fumble in that game, so he kind of played all right. But I think if he had played better and made those plays, made those throws that he missed, I think the Bills win it. That's just my personal opinion on that. But from watching the highlights and watching the game, I really think um it came down to those couple plays that they missed that they just couldn't um couldn't top on and finish that. But no, yeah, that's and some people would even say maybe it's a breakdown of the Bills because the Bills should have won that pretty handily. I think they were
I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs didn't have the best like season, but I
right,
mean, this is what they do. Like they
right,
do this every year. This is their, I think, sixth championship in a row that they've made it to, or
yeah,
AFC championship they've made it to, like in a row, 6 times. That's
yeah,
crazy. And
yeah.
that just shows how good they are in playoffs.
Yeah, I, I did not expect the defense to play this well against the Bills. I'll say that. Just because of how the Bills have been playing the last several weeks. They look like we actually had a topic about this a couple of weeks ago. The Bills the scariest team in the NFL, in the playoffs at the time, and I thought they were because how they were able to run the ball, how Josh Allen was playing, and it almost was like they weren't even that
The
team.
Bills?
The Bills, sorry, the Bills, yeah,
Wait, you said the
the
Bills are the scariest team in football?
Yeah, I remember a couple of weeks ago podcast we had talked about are the Bills the scariest hot team in the playoffs right now, going to the playoffs if they make it. And I said, yeah, it would because of how they've been playing, and how they've been able to run the ball and how Josh Allen was playing. And they just did not seem to be the same team at home and everything. They just did not seem to have the same um what's the word, electricity. They just did they didn't seem they played all right.
I
Like I
mean, they're
said, I
all
think it came
yeah.
down
I
to a
mean,
couple misses.
they're also playing the Chiefs too. Like,
Yeah,
so
they are.
it's a tough matchup.
Yeah, they are. But I had another question. Do you think Josh Allen? I had another question. Who do you think's greater right now? Um, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? Because if you go and
It's
look at
tough
the
to
statistical
say.
stats, yeah, if you go and look at the statistical stats, you're like, oh, Lamar Jackson is based off of the statistical stats and where he's at right now. But I was just thinking about that. What do you think about that? It's kind of off. That's kind of off topic, but just kind of
It's
little
honestly
nugget to
tough.
throw out there.
Honestly tough because um I'd probably have to say Lamar Jackson. Like right
Lamar,
now at least. Um his just his versatility. And yeah, Josh Allen can run the ball and throw the ball. But like
right?
at this current moment, Lamar Jackson's playing better.
Yeah, I think at this current moment, he is. I think just looking, if you go statisticals, Lamar Jackson has an MVP, unanimous MVP. He's on his way to his second MVP. It looks like he'll probably win his second one. Josh Allen hasn't won MVP yet. Um, jo um, Lamar Jackson, if he makes it to a Super Bowl, not Patrick Mahomes. If Lamar Jackson makes it to a Super Bowl, Josh Allen would not have made it to a Super Bowl yet. So he has both those MVPs plus a Super Bowl over Josh Allen. Josh Allen keeps getting bounced out in the divisional round and championship round by Patrick Mahomes, and he got bounced out by Joe Burrow. And if Lamar is able to beat Chiefs this week, then that also obviously shows that Ravens weren't able to get bounced out by them. But I think right now you would have to contend that Lamar Jackson is playing at a better and higher elite level than Josh Allen, which might seem like blasphemy to some people, but it's the truth. But what do you think about the Eagles loss, man? Eagles lost. Eagles lose to Bucks, um, 32-9 in the um first round of playoffs. Would you think about that? Did you think it was going to be closer, or what? What was your expectations for that
Man,
game?
ever since like when did it start? I think it was the game against the Cowboys where they lost to the Cowboys. I think it was like around that. I think that's when it like started.
Hmm.
But like ever since then, they could just not win a game. I don't know if it was like the Cowboys curse or something. I don't know. But like,
Yeah, and even if
man,
and even if you look before then, the games they were winning, they were winning it close before they even before it led up to the Cowboys game. So it was like they were winning, but they weren't winning convincingly, you know.
Yeah, but I
Back
mean,
to what you were
a
saying.
lot of their games at the end of the season though, they were getting like some of them weren't even close.
Yeah.
Like this playoff game too. Like they got like destroyed, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of crazy.
It was,
It kind of numbs the Cowboys losing a little bit, but we'll talk more about that later.
yeah. It was more than a beatdown. It was a demolition job of epic proportions, as the word I like to use. In all facets of the game, the Bucks just looked so much better. Offense, they were able to run the ball and pass the ball very efficiently. Defense, they were able to stop. Um, granted, the Eagles didn't have AJ Brown, but I still think they would. I still think the outcome would have been the same. But that defense held their own and was able to stop who they were supposed to. And they just played all around football, and I didn't think it was going to be this big of a blowout. I thought I predicted the Bucks to win, but not like this. And this shocked me in the aspect of how big in the aspect of how big we are. Not big, in the aspect of how big the game was. But I definitely knew they were going to be first round exits against the Bucks. And if they had made it past the Bucks, I was going to be surprised. Like, I legit was going to be surprised because I'm like, man, the Bucks should have won that.
I wouldn't have been surprised if the Eagles
Really?
beat them.
With
Yeah, I
with
mean,
how bad the Eagles have been playing, I know the Bucks are kind of bad
do you
because
remember the
their
Eagles'
division.
schedule of like a lot of the
Yeah,
games they lost?
Yeah, I remember their schedule, but there's still, I mean, yeah, I get they had a hard schedule, and if you look at the Bucks schedule, someone at that division had to come out, and they were what a 7-7 team that made going to the playoffs, 9-7, and so looking at that, you're like they had a um, terrible schedule, and they had a terrible record. But I still would have been surprised if the Eagles came out on top because I just felt like the Bucks should have won, and it was playing better, and I was right, and I was overright because it was a complete demolition job.
Yeah,
But definitely was not expecting that. But I'm glad whenever I can see the Eagles fall, that makes me
it's
happy,
good to
man.
see. It is good to see, honestly.
I hate the Eagles, man. But
Yeah.
I think they should fire Nick Sirianni. But that's for a different day. But I think they should fire him, in my humble opinion. But
All right.
but
Well,
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
yeah.
go
All right.
ahead.
Well, going on to this next segment, we're gonna talk about. This is my first question to you: Is where do you think Bill Belichick will go? Do you think he's
Oh
done? Do you think he'll go? He will go anywhere else?
no, I
What do you
think I
think?
think he's gonna. I think he's gonna keep coaching. Rumors have it he's looking at Atlanta, which is Atlanta Falcons job, which is kind of weird because I don't see why he would go there. I don't see any potential of him being able to. Maybe he wants to completely turn the team, a bad team around. Um, but I was surprised when I saw that rumor. I was like, interesting. But yeah, I think he's gonna stay in the league. I think he's gonna keep coaching for maybe a year or two left, and I think he's really gonna try to um, get another Super Bowl. I think the reason why he might be thinking about going to Atlanta is because they're so bad of a team. He's like, hey, if I can turn this team around and get to the Super Bowl, I can prove I can prove to the world that I'm still him, right? I'm still the best coach. And when we won with the Patriots, it was because of me, not just Tom Brady. Because there was that argument after Tom Brady left, he won another Super Bowl without Belichick, and Belichick's kind of gone down. And so I think if he was to completely change his team around, bring him to the Super Bowl, I think that would help his um his debate. But I think the best place for him to go is L.A. Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, with Justin Herbert over there, Keenan Allen, just the run game and how the team is constructed. I think that's a really good team that just hasn't had the best coaching staff. And I think he can really do something with that talent. But it looks like with the rumors, it looks like he's probably going to Atlanta Falcons. But what about you, man? What do you think?
I think I have to agree. I think Falcons. I think it'll be a good fit for him. And Like it would be interesting to see like what he could do with that team.
Right.
And it's gonna be weird, like seeing him not with the Patriots.
It
And it's gonna be
is.
weird to see how the Patriots turn out this next year. I don't know. It's definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm curious if he brings that Patriot way over to the Falcons. This is the standard. If you don't meet the standard, then you're gone. Very strict, and this is how it's run. I wonder if he's gonna bring that Patriots way to the Falcons, or is he just gonna throw that out and kind of start all new? That'd be my question and see what he does
oh
there. But
no, I mean his coaching style is gonna stay the same.
yeah,
Um, I mean it's just how he coaches,
yeah,
how he works,
yeah,
and everyone knows like he's a good coach. So I don't know why like he would get rid of that.
yeah. I get that. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think he's going to be coaching a little bit longer and try to prove to him that he's still him, that he can still coach at elite level. And why not do that with the bad team and turn them around and really ultimately show, hey, this is the reason why they're turned around.
Yeah. All right. Well, for this next question, 49ers beat the Packers 24-21. Um, should that have been more of a blowout or by the Niners? What do you think?
Yeah, I I think that should man, I think the Niners should completely dismantle the Packers. I think we'll go into this a little more in the next segment, but I think the Cowboys. I don't even think the Packers should have made it to this far, in my opinion. I think the Cowboys, if they had taken care of business, I think the Cowboys should have proved to them, hey, y'all don't belong here, and they would have been out in the first round.
I mean,
But
if you play the Cowboys, that's like an instant free pass to the next round. Like
yeah, it it,
honestly,
it is not
that's
nowadays.
that's just how it is at this point. Honestly,
Yeah, now within the last several years now with the Cowboys, it kind of is like, hey, we want to play the
Mhm.
Cowboys because they'll fall apart. But I think if they had played to their best ability, I think that would have been a blowout, and I think the Packers would have been one and done. But they're not, so now we got to talk about them. But yeah, I think the Niners should have beat them more. I think they left some plays on the field. See, Brock Purdy didn't look too well, although he did answer some of the questions I had. Was what does it look like when Debo Samuels goes out, right? And you don't have that one guy. What does it look like when Trent Williams goes out and you don't have him? What does it look like when you're behind? And he pretty much answered a good bit of the questions I had for him as far as how do y'all play when you are behind, right? Because for a long time they've always had the lead. How does it look like when your number one receiver goes out? And he proved to me that he was able to still win. Granted, it wasn't pretty, but he was still able to win without his number one receiver and being behind. I really appreciated that, and I saw that he can fight now, right? He can come back, win down points, and show, hey, I can keep going. I'm not gonna just give up. But what do you think about that? You think that was about close game, or you think it should have been
yeah.
more?
Um, I think the Niners definitely should have beat them more. The Cowboys shouldn't have lost to them. A lot of things shouldn't have happened.
Right.
Um, I mean, honestly, for a second, I thought the Packers were gonna win that game. Like
I
they
know.
were up at the end there. Like it was weird.
I know. Till Jordan
Um,
Nelson, not Jordan Nelson, Jordan left through that one pick. They were they
honestly, it
were
would have been
trying to drive
awesome.
down.
It
Yeah,
would have been awesome if the Packers won that game, and they almost
yeah.
did too. Like just barely the Niners snuck away with it.
On top of that, would you rather the so on top of that, would you rather the Packers have won than the Niners?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely would have. I mean, I always root for the
Really?
underdog.
That's fair. That's fair. Even when they're playing the Cowboys.
I mean, the Cowboys are always the underdog
That's fair. That's fair.
at this point,
That's fair.
honestly.
That's fair to
Especially
say.
in I mean, like not during the regular season, but like once they're in the playoffs, they're underdog.
Yeah.
Like just because like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know if it's like the pressure of being America's team. I don't know because like ever since they were called America's team, they have not performed well at all in pressure situations. So
Yeah. And
I don't know if it's that putting pressure on them. I don't know.
I don't know if it's necessarily um I don't know if it's necessarily that the label of them being America's team because that's the label has been around for a long time. I think it's more of like they don't do well, like because you see there'll be like regular season, there'll be implications on that, and they'll be able to play well like against the that very last game of the season. That was a big game, right? A lot of eyes were on that, and that was in the regular season. They were able to win that one, right, to get what they wanted. But once they got what they wanted, and during the playoffs, they could not ultimately win that game. I think I really do think it's similar with the playoffs. Is when it hits playoffs, they just shrink and they're not who they are, and
Yeah, exactly.
it makes no sense. It makes no logistical sense, and I don't know how you fix that. Maybe it's the coaching. This game, at least this game was. It seemed like a lot of it was on coaching. Just some things were just done bad. Um, but I really don't know how to fix that, and I don't look forward to. Usually every off season playoffs, I look forward to the
Mm.
Cowboys going at least winning one game. I don't even see them win next week. I don't not next week. I don't even see them winning one game next year in the playoffs. Um, but we'll see. That's
What do you
still a
think about their
whole year away.
defense?
I think their defense got shredded, bro. Their defense got exposed. Um, and I almost don't even know if it's necessarily the personnel or like I said, the coaching. I think I think it was if I had to say, I think it was the personnel. Because if you go and look at it, they had to play man, and all year, the main coverage they played was a zone defense, right? I mean, not zone. Sorry, the main coverage that they played was a man defense, and they had to go to zone because when their corner Stephon Gilly had popped his shoulder out of socket, so they were able to pop it back in, but it was still kind of bruised, so he wasn't able to get up and play real physical man. So they had to go to zone, and they don't ever really play zone. So with the fact
Yeah,
of
I noticed that too.
them never playing zone and they can't communicate the receivers and who has receivers because playing zone, if you don't know, playing zone defense is a lot harder than playing man. Like a lot harder for everybody because there's so many teams that will go through your path and you gotta know who to drop and who to pick up. Because if you don't pick up the right person, and
Right.
so
Yeah.
you have to have really good communication. I think because of how hurt Gilly was, and there's no excuse if you're on the field, then you're able to play, But there's some aspect to that to where things change if you're still on the field and you're still kind of hampered in some way, limping or But I think with how he was, I think Dan Quinn had to change his scheme, and it just did not work out. And they had the blitz wasn't getting home, the pressure wasn't getting home, and then when he tried to send more pressure, that just opened up the backfield, and it things piled and piled and piled, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on with them, but
Right.
yeah, yeah. Um, so we got um, so yeah. All right. So um, let's see. All right. Do you? All right. So Coach Mike McCarthy is coming back again next year. As we're going to this next segment, it has been officially that Mike McCarthy is coming back for his last, or looks like at least finish his contract next year. You think that's the right or wrong move after you've seen what happened to that
I think
playoff game?
it's the wrong move.
Right.
I don't know. It's not a right fit. I don't know. That and like, I definitely wish we could have gotten Belichick just because
Uh
I feel
huh.
like that would have been interested to see what happened.
Uh huh.
Um, and I don't know. It's just tough because I don't know if it's Mike McCarthy's fault. I don't know if it's Dan Quinn's fault. I don't know if it's Dak Prescott's fault. I think that's all like a little mixture of both.
Right.
Um, Dak, he's just running out of chances 3 years in a
Yeah.
row, and he did not play good enough. And
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And Mike McCarthy, like he's also not proven it. Like
Right.
it kind of
At
depends
least
what
with the
the issue is.
Cowboys, he hasn't proven it.
Yeah, yeah. For the
Right.
Cowboys, he hasn't proven it. Um, it kind of just depends what the issue is, and I think it's kind of a mixture of both. And so,
Right.
do you eliminate all those problems, or do you keep all those problems? I say
Right.
you eliminate all those problems. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. My first initial instinct is to say start over. Get rid of the head coach and the offense coach, the head coach and defense coordinator. Wipe all the coaching stuff. Start completely new. That was my first initial thought. So I started to really think about the move that they did keeping him. Is that the best move or is that bad? And I don't know. As of right now, I haven't decided because here's the reasons. If you get rid of him, people don't understand when you get rid of a coordinator or a coach or anything, especially a coach, it everything changes, right? You don't just change the coach. You don't just change. You don't just change the guy, right? When you bring a new guy, that guy is going his specific guys. He's going to bring his own specific guys. He has a certain scheme, certain way he likes things run, and then the front office, the personnel is gonna have to tend to that, right? So if there's people on the staff that on the team that hey don't fit what this new head coach wants, then they got to get rid of him and try to bring in a new thing. So there's multiple keys, like a whole domino effect. There's multiple keys and multiple things within that team and the organization that happens when you bring in a new coordinator or a new head coach because they want to bring in their whole new scheme. And you gotta be able to see. He has to be able to see. Hey, do these players match my scheme? What I want to do? No, they don't. Get them out of here. I want these guys in. So there's this whole process. Um, so there's that one, and then um, that's so there's that one if we had let him go, and I think if we, and then there's the one if we keep him, we keep all that continuity, right? We keep all that, all that continuity instead of getting everything rid of, and ultimately you can try to see if you can, like I said, run this back one more time and see if there's a different outcome, but that's why I say I don't know yet because, like I said, you keep all that continuity. You don't get rid of any
Yeah,
players. With that, you kind of know what Martin McCarthy likes in his guys, versus getting rid of him and getting rid of a lot of your players, bringing this new guy, getting rid of all these assistant coaches because this new head coach wants this, and so that's why I don't know
yeah.
which one's best, And some people
And
would say bringing in a whole new system would be good, just ripping the whole band-aid, but Jerry Jones is now young, man. Like that's gonna take that's gonna take a little bit when that new guy brings in his whole system. You're not just gonna turn around in one season unless you're him.
yeah,
But
I definitely think that like next year for sure though, if if the Cowboys underperform and in the playoffs like they did this year, like it is done
yeah,
for
you're not
Mike.
signing McCarthy back.
It
Yeah,
is
he'll
done
be
for Mike McCarthy. It is done for
yeah,
Dak.
yeah. He'll be
Also,
put
I think next year isn't next year Dak's last year on his contract, or am I wrong?
I think it might be. I know it is from McCarthy.
Because
So
I
he's gonna
think
play. McCarthy's gonna coach next season on his last season.
no
But
Dak.
yeah, yeah. I'm not quite sure for Dak because they're trying to give him an extension right now because of the cap hit. So I think he's still. I think next year you might be right. So next year I think might be. Yeah, yeah. It is right. That's why they're trying to give him the extension because next season is his last season, and if they're like, or if we just let you play for that season, then the cap hit's gonna be $60 million. But if they extend that, then they can really, because next year his cap hit's gonna be $60 million. So they can be like, hey, we'll pay you $60 million
Mm,
this one year, or we can extend you for 2 more years and divide that up, right? That 60
yeah,
million or however much between those years and be able to pay other people. So I think next year is his last year, which is why they're trying to get that extension. They can pay
yeah,
CD and all these other guys.
yeah. I think next year I think we need to, depending on how Trey Lance looks.
Hmm.
I think we need to trade Cooper Rush because I feel like we can get some good value out of him.
Right.
And depending on how, I mean, this is all depending on how good Trey Lance is looking. Um, and have him as a good backup option. Maybe like ease him into a couple games,
Right.
like a couple blowout games. Like we had a lot of blowout games this year, but Trey Lance was the emergency option, so we never really got to see him.
Right.
Um, Also, we'll be able to see him in preseason next year. So I think it's time. I think this next year is definitely a time for them to start veering away from Dak.
Yeah.
Even though he had like almost an MVP season, like they got to start veering away from that. But
I think
we're running out of time here, so we're gonna have to end it. Um,
yeah.
but thank you everyone for listening to the Fifth Down. I'm Seth Eubank. This is Kenson Probst with me. Y'all have a good night.
All right, we'll see y'all later.